Back here on SVG Sports Tech On Demand, Brandon Costa from SVG. Have the distinct pleasure now to be joined by Ben Wolk. He is Chief Revenue Officer for delaPlex. Ben, we really appreciate you taking some time for us today. Where are you coming from? You guys holding up all right?
Good to see you, Brandon. I live out in Seattle, and one of the epicenters, one of the early epicenters, but we're doing well here. delaPlex as a company is very accustomed to working from home and remote work environments, so it's not a big change. Other than my kids are still, my kids are running around the house the last 3 weeks, so we're getting used to that. But all in all, everything is good.
Very good. Glad to hear it. Yeah, as you said, you guys are kind of familiar with this environment, or at least what it takes to succeed in this environment as a company that specializes in software solutions for the broadcast industry. For those who aren't familiar with delaPlex, what do you guys do best?
So delaPlex is a software outsourcing company. So people hire us to do development for them. We don't own the IP. We come alongside companies and their development teams, and we work as part of the internal teams. So we do full cloud deployments. We will take old software and make new software out of it. We can do complete platform planning, manage the software from end to end, including the ongoing service and support. We have a pretty big broadcast vertical, which is doing really well and seems to be solid right now, considering everything that's going on.
Okay, well, that's very good to hear. What are some of the new products or services that you guys are offering as a company that you feel fit, whether it's a current environment or just the sports broadcasting community in general? What are some of the solutions that everyone should know about?
So, what I see is from vendors. Vendors tend to need help sometimes. Sometimes vendors rely heavily on contractors. Sometimes it's just maybe the UI work on a platform. They'll keep the platform and back-end development in-house, but they really want help on the UI side, maybe also with integrating with other pieces of software. So we tend to come in those situations. There's a lot of broadcasters who tend to have legacy software, and they don't have the resources to be able to rewrite the entire platform. Or if you have software that you want to create a cloud-based version of, that typically is a start from scratch type of scenario. So we've done many of those type of cloud deployments. We've transitioned license-based software into mobile applications so that they can run on iOS and Android. We do end-to-end, so we can do back-end development. We're big on database, as I mentioned, big on UI. We've done full API development as well.
Okay. Now you mentioned the company itself is very familiar with having its staff work from home, but what has changed? In what ways has the company needed to respond to the pandemic that we're in right now? Whether that's internal operations or your relationships with your clients, how have you changed what you do in order to adapt to this time right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a little additional background. We have multiple verticals in the company. We work in hospitality and medical, in fintech, and in broadcast. And obviously the hospitality business has taken a big hit.
Sure.
We are very diverse as a company, so we've managed to remain very solid with our customer base. What I've been nonstop 12, 14 hours a day over the last 2-3 weeks has been creating business continuity strategies for ourselves, but also for our customers. Everyone's trying to figure out how many cost savings measures they're going to have to go through and how that's going to affect their deliverables. They're also concerned about things like QA and test, which typically happens in a building on-prem. They need to be able to continue their QA and test. So we're building contingency plans for our customer base. We did have a hospitality customer that, overnight, 70% of their revenue went away. So in that particular case, they had to do significant cost cutting. We agreed to defer their billing for 4 months so that they could keep all their QA resources on staff. so the remaining few developers that they had could actually work on the platform. So, we've been trying very hard during this time to figure out how we can be helpful, how can we support teams. We do have offices all over the country in India for development, and those people have all had to move to remote development. So we very early on had people working from home. We made sure to test VPN connections. We have to take extra care and security when people are all dispersed like that. Those are the things that we did weeks ago in advance of this,
Sure.
and have been running really very smoothly. We have not experienced a single interruption in any of our customer base.
That's tremendous. All right, Ben. Well, obviously, we appreciate the help that you guys are providing to the broadcast industry, but we especially appreciate any of the support that you guys are certainly offering the medical industry, especially at this time. So
Yeah,
we appreciate all that work, and we really appreciate you taking the time and joining us today here on SBG Sports Tech On Demand. It was a pleasure to speak with you.
it's great to talk to you too, Brandon. You guys take care, and everybody be safe out there.
Thank you. He is Ben Wolk, Chief Revenue Officer for delaPlex. That'll do it for this edition of SVG Sports Tech On Demand. For more, visit sportsvideo.org.